Hey, have you ever thought about doing a webinar for your business and don't know where to start, what to do, how to do it? Well, today, this is the show for you. I actually have a guru. Matter of fact, she is known as the webinar queen, y'all. Dekesha Williams. Now, this sister actually put in the work. She has some social proof. She has did it, done it. So I asked her to come on to the show and let's talk about it. Let's figure out how do we do this. So I need to put your hands together. I need a big clap for her. All right, come on in. Come on in. We gonna give you a better clap tonight.
Thank you.
All right. So, first of all, everyone, I stumbled across Miss Williams. I was getting ready to put my webinar together. So I said, well, what's out here? And sure enough, and I didn't even know her, someone referred me to her, and I started looking at her timeline, and bam, there it goes. It was one that I liked that she was real. Wasn't no sugarcoating. She kept it real. It was only 5 hot minutes. That's what I like about it too. She wasn't even playing about it. It was 5 hot minutes. And that's it. She gave you what you needed to know, what you needed to do. Now it's on you. You push the button or not. Tell me, how did you even do this? Now, first of all, she has a backstory. She wanted to stay home with her children to help. So I'm not going to tell your story because I'm going to let you tell your story. Tell your story. Tell your story.
I had my daughter when I was 21. And then when I was 27, I had my son. So when I started this journey, they were 5 and 11. So my son was going into elementary school. And I said, you know what? Wow. I want to be there for my kids. I want to see them get on the bus. I want to see them get off the bus.
Yep.
And I tell people, I have sat in the seat for 1,288 days, but who's counting? And I've been able to see them on and off the bus. Let me tell you something. When I started, they were 5 and 11. My son just turned 17 and my daughter is about to be 23. So I have raised them and they have seen me work from the comfort of my home for over 12 years. And I came across this technology that allowed you to work from home.
Yeah.
Like I could impact the world, not just Virginia, the world, by turning on the camera, turning on the mic, and just teaching my little heart out. That's it. That's all I had to do, right? Before I started it on my own, one of the things that I was doing was I was working with another organization that had clients paying them $15,000, $20,000 to come in for a weekend, and I would teach them how to build a 6-figure webinar funnel.
Wow.
At this time, I was not making a 6 figures in my business. And the way that my level of integrity is set up, I can't teach you to do something that I'm not doing myself.
Okay.
And so my colleague and I, we were like, well, let's test and see if like this webinar thing works. And so we actually, this was back in Google Hangouts. Okay.
Google Hangouts.
That's a long time ago.
Yes.
So Google Hangouts, we did 8 webinars in 30 days and I generated $15,000 in commission in less than 21 days. That, my friend, is when I realized that I was on to something. And so I created a course on how to teach people how to use webinars. Number 1, to build their email lists, to generate leads of people who are actually interested in working with you. And then number 3, how to make sales from the comfort of your home.
Wow. I'm going to tell you. Now, again, her content is off the chain. Because again, the way she explains it, there's no fluff. There's like, okay, well, you need to do this, jump over this hoop. No. She tells you. Matter of fact, so there's one. The first time I saw her, she was saying, how do you, what you need to have in your webinar. And she just went, again, 5 hot minutes. That's what she did. It was 5 hot minutes. So the first one she said, okay, what are you trying to get them to do? Boom.
Mm.
How are you trying to engage them? 3, what is your end result that you want them to have? Now she did this in 5 minutes, but the way she did it, it just made so much sense. Literally. And here I am right in the middle. I'm right in the middle putting my little webinar together and everything else. I said, this is something, hey, this makes sense.
It makes you
Figure
stop and
out,
think.
oh my goodness. When you said figure out the end
Yeah.
result, I said, I do need a call to action. And nowhere in my deck was a call to action. Not
Wow.
not one. I gave
Wow.
you great
I just saved you
information.
so much money. I just saved you so much leaving money on the table just by that 5-minute video.
Yes, you did. You sure did. So I said, well, let me go check this out. And guys, I spent hours. Yes, I did. I went back and I looked at every video. I'm taking notes. I'm writing down stuff. My wife yelling at me, you need to go to bed, but I need to get this information. So I said, I need to
Mm-hmm.
have her on the show, to talk about this. And so here's the first question I have for you. Business is business. First of all,
Mm-hmm.
why do your business need a webinar to grow or get to the next level? And what I mean by that is that it doesn't matter if you selling hair. It doesn't matter if you giving books away. Why do you need this webinar to get to the next level?
Well, so here's the big picture of why webinars work. Webinars is a platform that's scalable. And like I share my story, when I started out on this journey, my kids were 5 and 11, right? And even think about in the pandemic, we weren't able to go and speak on multiple platforms. So just imagine, and no shade, to my keynote speakers and things like that, but just imagine what it takes to put on a keynote or to get to a keynote. You have to pitch yourself. Excuse me. You have to pitch yourself. You have to be accepted. You have to negotiate. And then you have to pack your bags. You have to travel however far you have to go in order to get in front of the 100, 200, 500, 5,000. I don't know. In order to deliver that one keynote. Well, me, I wasn't in a position. I had just left corporate America where I was in the airport every week, every other week. Like I was getting mail at Hartsfield International Airport. Okay. I didn't want to keep jumping on planes. That's not what I wanted to do. So you mean to tell me that I could build an audience for my business, a tribe of people who want to work directly with Dekesha, who have the problem that I solve, and I could do that, and I don't have to have on socks. I can have on pajama pants if I want to. I don't have to have a full face done. I don't have to have a credit card for my travel expenses, my hotel expenses. I'm like,
Wow.
yeah, it doesn't matter what industry you are in, because at the end of the day, it is our responsibility to help our potential client make an educated buying decision. That's what the webinar presentation does. You don't necessarily have to be salesy. Just like you said, you watched a lot of my videos. Those videos give value. So when
Yes,
you
they do.
participate in any training that I'm going to give you, I'm going to give you value. 1000%.
Let's keep it real. Is it really hard to put the webinar together?
If you
I mean, because I
overcomplicate a simplistic process.
because I mean, I've been working at it for about 2 weeks now.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, but after watching your videos, go back and retrain myself here because I realized there are key points that I want to make. There's a
Absolutely.
journey I want to take them on, and
I
then I
love
want to
it.
give them a call to action.
Absolutely.
I want to give them a problem. I want to talk about the problem, give them a solution. Here's the call to action. That's what watching your videos did. It clicked. I get it. But
I
how
love it.
hard is it if I don't know nothing?
And so I think the hardest part for people is, what do I need to say in this webinar? And I think
Yes.
that's where we get tripped up. right? Because anyone can go and get the software and turn the software on and hit the button.
Hmm.
But how can I have a presentation that gives value, but it can influence the buying behavior? And that's where I teach that there is a science to webinars, because a webinar is a presentation, but it's designed for you to get so much value out of that presentation that you ask me, what are the next steps? It doesn't matter if it's a
Okay.
60-minute or 90-minute presentation. And we're to the point where we do 2-hour masterclasses or 4-hour masterclass. And by halfway through this masterclass webinar, they're asking me, so tell me a little bit more about this mastermind that you have, right? So that's
Yes.
how I know that I've done my job in my training, because number one, I provided so much value, but I've positioned what should happen next for them. And
Okay.
that can be difficult because it's a skill set that has to be taught.
Yes.
Number one, every person that you come in contact with is not going to be ready, willing, and able to buy. So, what are you doing to nurture that relationship? You need to have some type of system or process in place where you are nurturing that relationship right now. And funny enough, I just found a webinar, an automated webinar that I set up. I don't even know how long ago I set it up. I forgot that it exists. And it could very well possibly be in some funnel, because
Uh-huh.
I've created so many webinars, so many funnels over the last 12 years, that I probably have at least 5 automated webinars set up at this moment, where I my content does the work for me. This is
Okay.
a perfect example of my content on my social media platforms, regardless whether it's Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Facebook page, period. It's
Mhm.
going to drive you to the next step.
Now, here's the thing. Is
Mhm.
it okay to do the same webinar over and over and over again?
So when we did the 8 webinars in 30 days, so I tell any of my students that have a cash flow problem, if you need cash flow injection in your business, you go out and you do the same webinar 8 times. So that's twice a week for 30 days.
Hmm.
You should be able to close 3 people per webinar every week. That's 6 people a week. Let's just say your price point is $1,000. That's $6,000 every single week. So if you got a cash flow problem, you can easily create $6,000 in a week if you host a webinar twice a week, especially when you are just starting out or you create a new webinar presentation. You
Uh-huh.
have to continuously do that same presentation over and over again to perfect it, to see where you either lose people, what people are retaining, whether you want to add information, take information away, because you want to make sure that that webinar is actually converting before you automate it. Don't just go out here and
Okay.
pre-record a webinar just because somebody else has a automated funnel, but they've probably done that webinar for 3 years before they automate it.
Ah, see, didn't even know that. I,
Someone will go out and pre-record a webinar and they'll drive traffic to it, but
mhm.
their energy is not the same as when people are in front of them. You know,
Okay. Yeah.
when
Yeah.
you're monotone, so you're going to lose people. You don't know why you're losing people. That's one of the reasons why when my automated webinars are converted, it's actually a live presentation that I've done with people there. My energy is like this. I am
Mhm.
talking to you. I'm telling you comment below. Like, I'm engaging with you. So when you watch that automated webinar, I'm not talking on the webinar like this as if no one is actually participating. There is a total difference, right?
Now,
So
now,
yeah,
now,
I
now,
highly
should they
recommend.
practice? Should they practice?
Yeah, so my trick, here's my trick.
Okay.
You're going to do it at least, I don't know, 4 times, right?
All right. All
Yeah.
right.
So here's the first time. The first time you're going to do it to get used to the technology. I just had a student do this the other day. He was so excited. He used the new content strategy that you saw. He had 21 people register. He did not hit the live
Oh,
button.
wow.
It happens to the best of us. All
It
right.
happens.
That's going to
It
be your
trust
first
me.
time.
I've been there, done that.
I tell him always, it's going to always be a technical glitch your first time. So the second time you're doing it because you're already familiar with the technology. Now you're getting
Mhm.
familiar with your opening. So you're
Okay.
basically breaking your presentation down and getting used to delivering the content in a different, like, medium. So the
All right.
third time you do it, you're going to do it. You got the technology, you know how to open, you know how to introduce yourself, and you know how to convert into the actual content, right? The next time you do it, you put all three things together. You got the technology. You should be
Yep.
sending out your emails and the reminders. You got the opening, you got the middle. Now you got to close. And I want you to concentrate on the close, because this is where some of us, we lose the confidence and kind of shut down, sit back and start and stumbling and bumbling. But if you focusing just on that piece and making sure that you enhance and, perfect that portion of your webinar presentation. And then the last time, so 5 times, the last time that you do it, boom, you bring all of these, components together. And now you have a beautiful, confident person that has done this multiple times. And don't worry about how many people register. That's where your concentration should be.
Okay.
Now, wouldn't you rather do that before you drive traffic and add money to a webinar and you're not even used to the technology?
Yeah. Now it's interesting you said the close is very important. I coach and I do the coaching, and the hardest thing I realize, people are scared to ask for the money.
They are.
I'm just
They
I'm just gonna
really
put it out there.
they
If
are.
if they're like, well, is $2,000 too much? Well, that's how much you charge it.
That's not enough.
My thing is
Yeah.
that don't be as scared to ask for the money.
And I mean, trust me, I
I
understand.
mean, and it's not, you're not trying to be
Being
greedy or
in that,
anything.
I
But
remember, but I
you have a
remember being
business.
in that space and not being comfortable asking for money because I didn't feel like I was giving anything tangible. I come from retail market,
Okay.
like I come from retail management. So I've been in the
Uh-huh.
retail industry. So we exchange $100, $200 and you get a big bag of clothes,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
But now I understand that the knowledge that I have, the money that I've invested to learn the things that I know, the strategies that I've implemented, the money that I've made, you are paying me for a shortcut. So you can
Yes.
either drive from Virginia to Atlanta, or you can pay more and get on a plane and fly an hour and 15-minute flight from Virginia to Atlanta. All right. Which one you going to do? Me, I'm paying for the flight. I'm paying for first class, right? And there we understand that there's a difference when you pay for the shortcut or the
Mhm.
faster route, the accelerated route. Oh, matter of fact, upgrade while you at it, because you deserve that. Or you can get in your car and you can drive. You can put the wear and tear on your car. Come on, somebody. Organic
Now,
traffic.
how about this? You're doing the webinar. Do you say, hey, because there's this replay now? That's the new thing. Everyone wants the replay of the
Mhm.
original webinar. Is it okay to charge for that?
Well, for me, when I was started and I didn't have an audience, I wanted a low barrier to entry. Sorry. And
Mhm.
so I didn't want people to have to jump through hoops to get their information. Again,
Okay.
I'm doing this so that I can build an audience, so I can get leads, so I can
Uh-huh.
get in front of more people. Well, now, fast forward where we are now, I want qualified people who don't mind making an investment. So I'm going to host a
Oh,
2 hour
okay.
or 4 hour masterclass, and I'm going to charge for it. And you're going to automatically get the recordings. But now
See,
I'm charging you up front. But I do that understanding that my numbers are going to be lower, but my conversion rate is going to be higher.
see, everybody, this is a pet peeve of mine. I'm glad you said it.
Hmm.
You have to be willing to pay for knowledge.
Yeah.
If it's crazy, you can tell someone exactly what to do. Like if they actually really sit down and watch your webinars,
Hmm.
they can get value. Now I got some value, but I realized I'm gonna have to sign up for a class so to get some more value.
Right.
But
Because
but
you're not going to get the same level of information in a free webinar that you're going to get in a paid workshop. And I tell people, like I tell them all
yes,
the time, when they come through, once that credit card swipe, I'm an open book. It don't even have to be about webinars. You can ask me about business. It doesn't matter. Like, you're part of the family now. So I'm going to tell you, you
wow.
better come with your questions.
Okay, so here's a question:
Hmm.
to Zoom or not to Zoom? That's the
Why
question.
are you trying to get me started on this interview? Why are you
See,
trying? Why?
No,
I was being
here's
nice
no.
and calm, I'm still coming getting over this little COVID, whatever it is. But I
Is
have
it
to tell
Zoom
people
or
Zoom is
not to
not a
Zoom?
webinar platform. And I have been like, I don't know how else to explain it. Zoom has a webinar functionality. It was not
Hmm.
designed as a webinar platform. So, even though you can host webinars on Zoom, there will
Yes.
be some limitations. Let me just say that.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I am very big on analytics, right? What
Hmm.
gets measured gets managed. And so if
Mm.
you don't know your numbers when it comes to your webinar presentation, if you can't tell what percentage of your audience stayed to the end, what percentage of your audience never showed up, what percentage of your audience, left early, if you cannot identify the behaviors of your audience, how are you going to follow up? And
Okay.
you
Okay.
don't want to generalize your follow up.
No.
So if you can put
No.
it in a system that will segment based on behavior, like think about it. Everybody is mad at Facebook because they got this algorithm and they have this pixel that follows your behavior. If you say certain things in front of your phone or you look at certain websites, they start putting ads in front of you based on your behavior. So imagine what your business could do if you started monitoring your prospects' behavior. You have a higher chance of converting the person that has a higher interest in your products and services because number one, they stayed to the end. They are hot leads. They are warmer. They are more engaged with you and your content than the person that registered and didn't show up. So I'm not going to follow up with those two individuals the same way. I'm not going to generalize my follow up system. I'm going to have a specific language that addresses the person that came out and hang with me for 2 hours or 60 minutes versus that person that just signed up, didn't show up. They didn't even watch the replay.
He didn't watch the replay. Oh my goodness. Well, no, you're
Are you
right.
going to invest your time into
You're
that
right. You're right. You're
person?
right.
Or are you going to invest your person in the time that actually came out and hang with you?
If I had to ask the question, because guy, you should see. Okay, you got like 4 or 5 of these. Leave Zoom alone. Maybe that's what she's saying.
I bring it
Let it
back about
go.
every quarter. It's time to do a new one, and I usually piss them off every single time I do it, and I don't care. I keep doing it.
I'm like she is on them about Zoom. Ooh. Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So tell people how they can contact you. Tell about now. I saw two. I know you got two programs coming up. I know you're trying to do some lives as well.
Mhm.
So you know what? I'm gonna let you do your thing. Come on. Tell us
So
how we get in contact with you.
absolutely, absolutely, and this year is going to be a phenomenal year. So I want you to connect with me on all social media platforms at DE_Keisha. You can find me on YouTube. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on TikTok. You can even find me on Facebook at DE_Keisha. If you type in the search bar the webinar queen, I'm pretty confident that you're going to find this face right here. And so I'm excited because one of the things that we're doing is we're teaching you how to create content that attracts people to your actual webinar. And so just like you were saying is that you went through and you watched several hours of my content. So I'm teaching my tribe the exact formula that content is actually a formula. So I love that you actually shared with me that you watched it. So we're teaching that formula. From us teaching that formula, then we invite people to be a part of our 90-day mastermind where we master the message, we monetize the message, and then we teach them how to market that message. And that's all about making sure that you now amplify and accelerate and get in front of more people. And from there, we support you on 3 ways to generate traffic: paid, borrow, and organic traffic. And so I know that I am the webinar queen, but I'm also, I'm very, very passionate about making sure your marketing message will attract people to your webinar. I'm also passionate about making sure that your message get to the masses, because a lot of people that come into my space don't have the audience in order to get the results that they desire in their life and in their business. So if I can help you accelerate that, where you don't have to build a business 100% off of organic content like I did, then I want to teach that to you. So please connect with me. Do not, don't be hesitant about reaching out to me. And if you know that webinars is something that you want to implement in your business in the next 60 to 90 days, I encourage you to go to www.mywebinarchecklist.com. When you opt into that, it's going to tell you some of the foundational things that you need to have in place before you do your webinar. A lot of people say, like, I don't know what to talk about. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you have to start with the end in mind. So that's www.mywebinarchecklist.com. Again, make sure that you follow me on all these platforms. My name is Dekesha Williams, your webinar strategist. Be passionate, be purposeful, but more importantly, be profitable.
Now, I was going to have you do that, right?
Yeah. You know I got all the sign off. You know I got to sign off.
Well, wow. Again, thank you, Dekesha. Now, I got to have you back.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
I'm going to have you back. There are some people who need to hear this information. So since you got her tagline, I got to get my tagline out here, okay? All right, success doesn't happen overnight. It happens what? Day by day. All right.